What's up guys, and welcome back to my channel. You already know the vibes. If you are new, make sure you subscribe, drop a comment down below, let me know where you're coming from. If you're not new, drop a comment down below anyway, because I always want to hear from my lovelies. Make sure you're following me on all my socials, Chanell A. Wallace on TikTok and Food with Chanell on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram and Pinterest, and Chanell A. Wallace on Snapchat. I will get it in one day, I promise. We're back with another video celebrating Jamaican independence, which is actually on Saturday, but in true Jamaican fashion, I'm extra, so we're celebrating it all week. Me no business, we're going to be celebrating it every single day, so make sure again you subscribe to see when I drop a new video, dropping some more inspo and Jamaican culture. Today, we're going to be making a, let me say, a Jamaican brunch. To be honest, a lot of people have it for dinner, but if you go to Jamaica, go to any cafe, food establishment, hotel, you're likely going to see this there as breakfast. And it's stew chicken with boiled dumpling and steamed cabbage. Now, if you're watching this, this means you are going to see the recipe for stew chicken. But rather than it being the stew chicken that's already on my channel, which is like the dinner version, this is the brunch version. Smaller pieces, nice and bite size, just to get your day started. And then tomorrow you will get the recipe for the boiled dumplings and the steamed cabbage. So, you know, stay tuned for that part. But what you will get in the end is me tasting both of those things together. Okay, wonderful. So let's get straight into it. The ingredients list will always be in the description down below. Let's get straight into it and make our stew chicken Jamaican brunch style. Okay, so this is what you are going to need for your brunch style stew chicken. Basically, we have some chicken legs here that I've chopped up. Personally, for any beginners doing this, don't chop it up yourself. I'm going to insert a clip of me chopping it up, and that's just because I've done it for years, so I know what I'm doing in it. If you want to use chicken legs, get them from the butchers, sorry, and get them to chop it in half or chop it into 3, and then basically you've got what I will be using today. If not, you don't have to use chicken legs, you can use chicken thighs, just chop them up small. You can use chicken breast as well, it's totally up to you. I'm actually using chicken legs because I had it like this in Jamaica, and I'm going to show you a clip here or a photo. So I'm hoping that I can get it pretty similar to this, but yeah, it's basically just chicken chopped up small really. So if you're not confident chopping up your chicken, then of course just go to the butchers, get the chicken from there and just tell them to chop it up. Simple as that. And then you'll also need the following seasonings here. And then you will also need some spring onion, fresh thyme, potatoes, onion, carrot, garlic and Scotch bonnet. You can also add ginger into this. I've run out, so I'm not adding any today, but it's fine because I'll add it in the seasoning. So we're going to get straight into it and season up our chicken. As I said, get a butcher's to chop it up. If you know how to chop up chicken, then again just chop it into 2 or into 3. But anyone that doesn't feel confident, use boneless chicken legs or chicken thighs and just chop them into chunks basically. That's the easiest way to do it. But yeah, let's get straight in and season. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of all-purpose seasoning. Going to add half a teaspoon of ground pimento. That was more like a 3/4 teaspoon. We're going to add some Maggi Liquid Seasoning, and if you can't have Maggi Liquid Seasoning, then add light soy sauce. So I'm going to be adding a tablespoon of this. some chicken seasoning, which will be about a teaspoon of that. I'm going to add some dark soy sauce as well. For this I will add about a tablespoon. And then I have this garlic, ginger and pimento seasoning that I got from Jamaica. They do sell a seasoning like this in England. In America I'm sure they do as well. Around the world it may be a bit difficult. Basically I'm going to add a teaspoon of this, but if you don't have this you can use a 1/4 teaspoon of ginger, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic and a 1/4 teaspoon of pimento. Okay, so you've added the ground pimento, just add a 1/4 teaspoon more. So a teaspoon of that. And can I just point out, my teaspoons in this recipe are more like heaped teaspoons, so not a level teaspoon, just, you know, you'll see what I mean. You can see it in the bowl, innit? Make it look like that, yeah. Garlic granules, go in with 1/2 teaspoon of that as well. And then with our fresh seasonings now, we're just going to add a bunch of fresh thyme like that. And then some of these seasonings are for the steamed cabbage, so I'm going to add, it's probably about 2 chopped spring onion. In Jamaica we call it scallion. And then in this I've got 2 garlic cloves chopped. So let me see if I need the whole thing. You're probably going to add about 2 teaspoons of chopped garlic. And then here I've got about 2 teaspoons or a teaspoon and a half of Scotch bonnet. I'm not going to add the whole thing because we don't want the pepper to overtake, because I've got a few seeds in there as well. So I'm going to add about that much, about half a teaspoon of that. And then I'm going to add some of these onions. This is a whole small onion. I'm going to add about half of this. And then we'll save the carrots for later. And then we, oh wait, hold on, one more thing. Browning, essential, absolutely essential in this. If you don't have it, it's okay, but I mean, I just prefer if you used browning. That's what I use. And you're going to put about a teaspoon of that in there. Yeah, a teaspoon of that. And then we're going to get to mixing. So just give this a good marinate, and of course if you've chopped it up yourself, just be careful because the bones then can be a bit sharp. Even if you've had it chopped up at the butcher's and the bones are in there, just again, just be careful when you're seasoning up your chicken. Smell, one thing, when you season up food and you can smell it, that's how you know it's going to taste good. And one thing I will say, like how this is Jamaican Independence Week, just a bit of information here. Pimento, garlic, ginger, that's almost like the holy grail of Jamaican cooking. That flavour just works together to give, I guess, the flavour that you taste in most parts of Jamaican cooking, really. In jerk, in curry, yeah, in most things. So yeah, and in stewed chicken, of course. Okay, for me this could do with a little bit more browning. This needs a little bit more colour. So I don't actually think I added a full teaspoon, so I'm just going to add a little more. But don't add too much of this. If you add too much and it goes too dark, you can't come back from it being too dark. Whereas if it's too light, you can always add a little bit more in there. So yeah, this is good enough for me. And I find that I probably need to add more if I've kept the skin on the chicken. So yeah, if you add in a teaspoon and it still doesn't look dark enough, just add a little bit more and then you're good to go. Normally I would put half a tomato in this. I don't have the tomatoes, which is very annoying. I thought I brought some, but normally I would have seen if I got some, but I haven't. So add half of a salad tomato, chop it up and add it into this as well. And then again, you're good. So you've got to be careful with this because of those bones. And then yeah, and then we are going to brown this off. We have two methods to this. First method is browning some sugar and then browning this, or you just fry your chicken in oil. What I'm doing today is frying it in oil. I'm not adding any sugar to it because I'm going to be adding ketchup later. So you can leave this to marinate. Us, we will be cooking it straight away. You know the vibes. So yeah, let's get straight into it and brown off this chicken now. We're just going to get our pan nice and hot. Add in some oil. And in this pan, I don't actually need much oil because this is my Tefal, I wouldn't even know what to call this pan. I use it as like a frying stew pan. But yeah, because it doesn't stick, I don't need that much oil. But you need the oil to brown off the chicken. So, you know, I've just added a little bit to the base of the pan. And then I'm just going to add in my chicken. But what I'm going to do, as I add it in, I'm just going to scrape off the onions. I don't want the onions in there yet because I don't want them to burn. And then I'm just going to add in the small pieces of chicken. Brown them off for about 5 minutes. And then we go from there. If some of the onions do get in there, it's okay, don't worry about it. Just try not to get all of them in there because you don't want them to cook too quickly. They're small, it shouldn't take too long to just brown them off on each side. And as you can see, the pieces get smaller as well because they're going to shrink a little bit. We will just fry this up in batches and then put it all in the pan together once it's all browned off. Once you've browned off your chicken like so, just take it out, rest it to the side and then add in some more chicken and repeat until it's all browned. If any onions got in there, just scrape it out as well so they don't burn. Add that to your cooked chicken and then add in some more. As you can see, it's kind of hard to not get the other seasonings in. But because these chickens won't take long to brown off, the veg shouldn't burn. In there because you're going to add everything back in anyway. So you should have your veg in the seasoning bowl there, and then you should also have your chicken that's been browned off here. And then once the final batch has browned off, just add in the onions and everything left in the pan. Give it a little mix. So you're just going to add in the rest of the chicken. Turn it down to medium at this point. And then for now, just cover it and let it begin to kind of like sweat down, the term is. And then what you need to get ready, just get a chicken stock cube ready, because we're going to add some water to the pot, add the stock cube and add our vegetables as well. This won't take long to cook at all because the pieces are smaller. So once you've left it for maybe about a minute, there should start to be some juices at the bottom of the pan. You can kind of see it underneath all of that. Just add a bit of water, not to cover it, but just to surround it. So that's the key. Don't cover the water, just surround the water. And then what you want to do is add a chicken stock cube. You can mix it before, but sometimes I just legit add it in to the side and then let it dissolve into the stock, because as you leave that to cook it will just all work together. Give it a stir like this, and then once that stock cube is dissolved, I'm actually going to add some more water now, just at the edge, so that the chicken still has a good amount of water surrounding it to be able to cook those vegetables as well. I'm thinking I might actually need to transfer this into a different pot, because this pot is looking a bit too small. I'm not sure, we'll see. I'm still going to go with it. Then I'm just going to add some of these small carrots in there, chopped up nice and small, because they're not going to take long to cook at all. Then I'm also going to add some of these potatoes. Now I've got the potatoes sitting in water anyway, so if some of the water gets in there it's okay. I'm just going to add a few of these in and hope that the pot is going to be big enough. Let's see. Yeah, that should be okay. I'm not going to add all of the potatoes in there. And then once you've added in your potatoes and carrots, I just like to add a little bit more browning or dark soy sauce, it depends. When we taste it later we'll know if we need to add some more soy sauce. I'm just going to add a little bit more browning, and I'm also going to add a bit of ketchup now. That's why I didn't want to fry it in the sugar, just a bit more. And then that is basically it. You're going to leave it to cook now. Turn it down to a low heat so the veg doesn't cook too quickly and mash out. But by the time we come back to this, we should be good to go. Simple as that. And this will be served with boiled dumplings and steamed cabbage. Okay, so it's been about 20 minutes. I just want to give this a stir. About 15 minutes in, I added a another tablespoon of dark soy sauce and a little bit more browning just to build up this gravy. And for those of you that probably think, you know, you've added too much water, I like a lot of gravy, because if I'm going to have this with rice later, I've also got some leftover rice still, I want gravy for it, you know, so I like to build up this gravy quite a bit. So I'd say this still needs about 5-10 minutes. The veggies are cooked, it just needs to all bind together now. So I just need to thicken up this gravy. Where normally I would actually, let me close this. Normally I would use this to thicken it up. It's for stews, sauces, all of that stuff, but the box is empty. So we're going to need a plan B. Now this is what I do sometimes, again, if I'm doing something quickly and because it's not stewing for long and you want a big depth of flavour, I use gravy granules. So chicken flavour would be best for this. Add So I've just added a tablespoon of the gravy granules in there, and then I'm just going to get 2 or 3 tablespoons of the stock that's in there and just mix it up until it gets a bit thicker. Now we already know that obviously Bisto is a gravy on its own, but it can also thicken up gravies as well, so this helps for if you are trying to thicken up one of your stews. I use the Bisto as well, and then I just add it into the gravy. If you've still got some in the bowl like that, you could put some more of the stock in there and just mix it around and then add it in there. If I ever use this method where I use the gravy granules, I will keep the bowl to the side just in case it doesn't get thick enough, and then I'll add more. So I'm just going to turn up the heat a bit so that it can thicken up. And if you are watching this and you think, you know, it's not wholly a Jamaican recipe, we're talking about the culture here. This is a base of that, and to be fair, everyone does their thing different. So this is just something that I do, especially when I don't have everything in my kitchen. What we would say is you turn your hand and you make fashion. So because I don't have my corn flour, I'll just use my gravy granules to thicken this up. Still not thick enough for me, so I'm just going to add another tablespoon with some more of that stock and mix it up. And I'm just going to pour that in. And then we are good to go, where we can just leave it, let the gravy come together, and then it should be ready. Just like that. See, this is getting nice and thickened now, which is what we want. So leave this for maybe another 5 minutes or less. Not too long, just so that those potatoes stay whole. You don't want them to cook for too long and start to mash out. And then your chicken is ready. Okay, so I left the chicken on for another 5 minutes on low. And there we have it. our stew chicken. Brunch style, Jamaican brunch style. Look at that. Delicious. Then you've got those little carrots and potatoes in there as well. So sometimes I'll just let it sit so all those flavors can just infuse together. So turn off the heat, let it sit in there, and the color will also take more if you let it sit for a little while rather than serving it immediately. So whilst you let your chicken sit, you can make your dumpling and make your steamed cabbage, and then you're ready to serve your Jamaican style stew chicken brunch. So I'm just going to plate up our Jamaican style brunch, starting with some boiled dumplings. I'm just going to put some of this cabbage, with some of those carrots, a bit of that gravy as well. And there we have it, Jamaican style brunch, stew chicken, boiled dumplings, and then that steamed cabbage there. Let's give this a taste. So here you guys can see the food. If you've come for the boiled dumplings, here they are. If you have come for the steamed cabbage, there. And then the stew chicken, we've got the whole shebang here, and I'm going to give it a taste test. So I'm just going to show the boiled dumplings. Look at that, just dipping in that gravy, looks amazing. And then the cabbage at the end. That stew chicken cut into little bite-sized pieces. This is like, if you know, you know, comment below. This is like a normal breakfast in Jamaica. The boiled dumpling looks like. So it's a little bit dense. That's how it is. And then we're just going to pair it with some of the chicken, which is nice and tender. And there's that first bite. You have that. That was a big mouthful. Wonderful. This legit reminds me of breakfast in Jamaica, hands down. Just the whole pairing of everything, because this is like a normal thing to have. Stew chicken or curry chicken, especially with the steamed cabbage. Oh my gosh. Get some more of that boiled dumpling. This is so perfect because it reminds me of home. This is what this series is about. Me bringing to you what Jamaica means to me, and it means flavors like this. Legit flavors like this brought together, turn in your hand, mek fashion as we say, which basically means you use what you've got at home. Flour, water and salt is in the dumplings. Yeah, I use bisto in the gravy, but again, you turn your hand and mek fashion. You can add less water and just use the juices from the chicken, it's up to you. I like to have more gravy involved always, so I just always make more gravy. exactly how it is with the carrots, with everything. Oh, the little potato. I totally forgot about the little potato. But they've just taken in all those flavours. That's really good. Delicious. One of my favourite breakfasts ever, and I'm so glad I chose to make it for Jamaican Independence Week. That's what I'm calling it, not day, week. I've got to round this off. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you've not subscribed, I mean subscribe and enjoy more of this week and to come. There's always going to be new content on this channel, recipes daily at this point. I'm putting out recipes every day, so stay tuned. Welcome to the party. Drop a comment down below if you liked this one and let me know what things you'd like me to cook. I did see a comment by someone, I can't remember your name. If I had my phone I would say it, but you asked for fried chicken and some sort of sauce. I've got you. I just made fried chicken, so it won't be like right now, but don't worry, it's on my list. I will not forget. And yes, see you in the next video.